Okay, fellas, let's get it on. Okay, fellas, let's get it on.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble!
This is Amir Hardcore Mentor on Boxing Beats and Rhymes YouTube channel. Tune in because this is the place to be, man, all the time.
Okay, fellas, let's get it on.
Boom, fast, wake up, I set it all bright. Look around and turn your wet to a bright night.
This is Tony Thompson, chilling with Boxing Beats and Rhymes.
Do you think it was wrong the way the interview was conducted? My understanding is from Talksport colleagues that were there, Frank Warren's people just said to Adam Catchell at the end of the evening, can we have a quick word with you? He had no understanding it was going to be with a microphone in front of his face and cameras on him. And then he was
I think he was
do
being.
Do you think that was a little bit wrong the way it was done?
I think he was being interviewed, Frank, and he said, "Hey, come over here." And you see Adam Catchell kind of say, "Look, don't film this. Let's have a chat." But unfortunately, I think everything's being filmed these days in terms of.
Do you think it was wrong, Eddie?
Not from what I've seen.
Okay.
I mean, Adam didn't have to come into the interview, but also if you want to have those opinions, you should be prepared and you should be equipped enough to have a debate on the spot on it. In my opinion, it wasn't like a violent interview or anything. It was just some guy who was very passionate about comments that had been made. And if you felt that strongly about your own comments, you should be able to give enough to live debate them on the spot.
I've heard people actually defend Adam Catterall and Talksport, saying Frank tried to bamboozle or ambush Adam Catterall, defending Adam Catterall. And I'm thinking, how does this work? Are Talksport only comfortable talking whatever they're talking, factual or not? Are they only capable of launching their diatribes on their platform, and then outside their platform they don't want to defend their position? That's not how that works. Now, I said what Eddie said pretty much, that Adam Catterall missed the opportunity to correct Frank Warren on several points, and that's his fault. Frank Warren is an old school Londoner, he's a blagger. So he took his opportunity and he blagged, and he put Adam in his place. That's what happened. Talksport complaining it's immoral to film it. It's 2023. Everybody has some recording device to hand if you're in the public eye like Adam Catterall. The same fire he displayed on Talksport is the same fire he should have displayed on Frank Warren's card. You turned up to Frank Warren's card, his Magnificent 7 card, after what you said about Frank's business, right in the press area where Frank Warren or a Queensbury employee is likely to see you. And you're complaining about a little smoke. It wasn't even smoke, it was debate. Isn't that what Adam Catterall is paid to do? What else is he paid to do? You do your diligence, you research what you got to research, you put the facts out there, and when you're in the media spotlight and you're questioned, you should have your rebuttals locked down. That's your job. I heard some people defending him, and I'm thinking, how are you defending that? He's a weak debater. That's what he is. He's a weak debater. Frank allowed him to rebuttal his points, but he buckled. He buckled. And that's his fault. A lot of people are saying Frank got him. Frank got him. And if that's a continuing trend where Talksport are forced to debate out of their comfort zone and people take it to them like that, they will start losing stripes. You've got to be able to handle the debate. Yeah, we'll talk. We could talk, Frank, but not on camera. Well, you put your points, what you said about Frank and his fighters, on camera. You didn't phone up Frank and have a personal conversation. Stop it. I don't want to hear Talksport crying. I thought I lived in a democracy in the United Kingdom. Sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're wrong. But you have your say. And Frank Warren had his. And Adam Catterall had his opportunity face to face with Frank Warren. And he buckled. Simple. Whether you're talking about Tyson Fury, Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua, Conor Benn, you get advertisement revenue and high viewership numbers. And some of the stuff Talksport have said has been incorrect. You benefited a lot from a lot of the stuff you said. False information. The least you can do is hold your ground in a debate without crying. Oh, Frank bullied him. Stop it. You know what it shows me? The likes of Adam Catterall Simon Jordan, they like boxing. I'm not saying they don't like boxing. But what it is passion. When Frank went at Adam Catterall, even though he glossed over a lot of facts and embellished a lot of shit, it was the passion that put Catterall in his place. If Catterall was a passionate boxing man, rather than just this scripted young dude, because that's what it is. All the points that Catterall and Simon Jordan push forward are scripted, with catchy taglines designed to stir up controversy and get views. They don't want to go off the cuff. They don't want to confront people one-on-one like that out of their platform, because they're not real boxing people. You know, even in the YTBC, there's a lot of channels. They would never debate on a live hangout. Never. But they're very strong in their opinions. But their opinions and their points of view never get challenged. What does that tell you? They're scripted. When you go one-on-one and you're under pressure, like Catterall, you forget your lines. Without the benefit of the teleprompter or the script, your credentials as a real boxing person in the media will be tested. Simple.
Flipping off himself like an acrobat, but after that one song, you see he ain't none of that.
At the end of the day, Frank, I look back in that assault on social media. I mean, you didn't hang back. You were keen to ambush Adam and give it both barrels.
That's not true. I didn't ambush him. I said to him earlier in the evening, I want to have a chat with you before you go.
I mean, the ambush bullshit. What ambush?
I said, hang on a minute. I shouted across, I want to speak to you. And he went to walk off, and I think somebody said, come on, come over and do the interview. I didn't ambush him at all. You know, if you're a pundit and you want to criticise, what, you're not accepting criticism back if you're in the wrong. What, we got to just accept what you're saying because you unconditionally love him. It's not right.
No, but there's a balance, Frank. There's a balance. You're absolutely right. If people voice an opinion, they're entitled to have an opinion back. But the difference with you being the exception, the notable exception, if somebody bites back, which is fair, and then a pundit comes back in, what will happen is the pundit will be blackballed. He'll be not able to speak to those people again. He'll not have the dialogue, and he'll be shut down. And that's what's been the case.
I'm not shutting anyone
down.
No,
but I specifically said you're the exception, Frank.
So,
the exception. All the shit Talksport have said about Conor Benn and Eddie Hearn. Has Eddie Hearn blackballed or boycotted Talksport from their events? No, you're talking bullshit. You know, you're playing this victim card for Talksport. This guy was saying Anthony Joshua was the victim the other day. No, you're the fucking victim. Talksport ain't no victims. No promoters boycotted you from the UK.
So, yeah, so, you know, how are other people?
This guy Simon Jordan is such a right? Frank confronted Adam Catterall and had it out with him, right? Frank Warren did not ban Talksport from Saudi Arabia. Tyson Fury did. Let's get that straight, right? Frank is on the show with you now, Simon Jordan, debating with you. None of the promoters have boycotted you. Tyson Fury did. And now you're getting all sensitive saying, oh, we'll get boycotted. No, you won't. No, you won't. You just can't go to Tyson Fury events. And that's Tyson Fury's decision. And if anybody says Tyson Fury can dish it out but can't take it, I agree with you. 100%. Yeah, when Gareth Davis tried to talk to Conor Benn at an event recently, Conor went crazy. So yeah, the boxers don't want to talk to you. You have to ask yourself why. Why Conor Benn and Tyson Fury don't want to talk to you. You have to ask yourself why. They're not promoters. They don't have a vested interest to have to talk to a radio station. Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren do. That's why they haven't boycotted Talksport or any other mainstream media. Despite a lot of bullshit they've said, incorrect stuff, they haven't been boycotted. This clown, Simon Jordan, was saying Anthony Joshua is playing a victim because we're critiquing him. Anthony Joshua made one video, I think with Spencer Oliver. He didn't say anything out of pocket. He wasn't aggressive or anything. Let's see if we can find what he said for Simon Jordan to be calling him a victim.
Listen, I mean, a lot of people saying that this will relight the fire in your belly with Dillian White. If anyone's going to do it, it's Dillian White. Last time out, Jermaine Franklin. We know that you've gone over with Derek James. You know,
let me ask you a question. When like everyone's favourite at Talksport fought Otto Wallin and went 12 rounds, no one and bust his eye open. No one complained. Andy Joshua goes 12 rounds with Jermaine Franklin. It's like, what's happened to the heavyweight division? Why is that? What is the problem with me going 12 rounds?
Does it annoy you that people say, well, Anthony Joshua, the fire seems to have left him, the fight seems to have left him?
No, it just makes me curious as to why. That's why I asked you the question. Why do you think that is? where
Well,
one
Marcy.
does it versus another, but you can clearly see that there's two different comparisons. It makes me wonder why. But anyway, moving on. We want to address this. The answer, because I wonder, like, he went 12 rounds, had a busted eye. Whether people rated Otto Wallin is there, and whether they rate Jermaine Franklin is their opinion. But let's put them in comparison. I'm coming back. He was coming back off a layoff. I was coming back off a short layoff after a loss. I went 12 rounds. He went 12 rounds. Why? It's like, I've got to relight my fire and this, that, and the other.
Why do you think you take so much stick? Like, so, really, since the Klitschko fight, and then we move on and we go into Alexander Usyk. You have the two fights with Usyk, and then the fight with Jermaine Franklin. And people, why are they so quick to judge?
Well,
on saying, like, where's the killer instinct gone? Where's that old AJ gone? Why do they think you say that?
There's two elements of it, in my opinion. And we'll just keep it factual. One is just general haters. And the second one is people who want me to do better. And I love that. So it's what it is. But let's be clear on what it is as well. There is, let's call it an attack on my name, especially on this Talksport radio station. Yeah, there is definitely an attack on my name. But it's fine. It's fine, you know, in this industry you have to have a thick skin. But it's good to talk about it. Like, that was just one example of many I could point out on how there's, like, parallel comparisons, but one gets dug out a lot more.
Look, we go back to 2015. You two had an unbelievable...
You know, Spencer didn't try and make an explanation why that was. He didn't even try. He just went back to Dillian White and Joshua's first fight. That's being a victim. That's not being a victim. One video where he spent, 2 minutes of the video talking about Talksport. He didn't dig out Simon Jordan and say, you shouldn't say this to me. He said, yeah, you need a thick skin. He's on Talksport doing the interview. He's not boycotting the platform. He hasn't boycotted them from his fights. Tyson Fury has. So how's that playing victim? No, you're the victim. All he did was challenge a few points. That's all he did.
It was the best you could do, yeah.
So what we made the number one Joyce against Parker. Great fight. We made then we made the number 1 and 2 against Zhang and Joyce. Great fights. We made the Dubois went and fought against Usyk. Great fights. And by the way, all this warm lager was served up on Talksport because you bought them all.
Yes, but with respect, Frank, you know that the genesis of all of this sort of rancor.
Oh, shut the f*** up. The genesis of this rancor. Fuck this. Seriously. This is Talksport feeling uncomfortable with the position that they've put themselves in. And now they're trying to switch it a little now. We're not the bad guys. It's the promoters. They're threatening to ban us when it's not the case. It's not true. It's the boxers who don't want to fuck with them. And what they're realizing now is they're becoming unpopular amongst boxers. Becoming unpopular amongst boxers' managers. Like Spencer Brown. He can't stand them. Tyson Fury's manager. So they're realizing they are possibly at a stage where they're likely not to get access to a lot of boxers who are going to follow the likes of Tyson Fury and Conor Benn and saying, nah, we're not going to go through this. We risk our lives in that ring for them to shit all over us. And they're just not going to have it. And they're realizing that now. And Talksport are trying some damage control now. Like to say, oh, look how you're treating us. No, look how you're treating certain individuals in the game. Their family has to read all the bull fucking shit that you put up there. And that's what you get when you're a whore for the views and clickbait titles. To sum it up, they're throwing rocks and then they're trying to hide their hands, and it's not working. Derek Chisora has fought under the promotion of Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, and he says the difference between the two is that Frank Warren pays his fighters more, but he pays late. Eddie always pays on time, and that was a deciding factor in why he switched to Matchroom. Is that true though? Or, you know, like, it seemed like it was quite a hostile breakup from what I remember, with Frank saying he didn't want to work with him no more. So did Derek leave and then decide to go Matchroom? Is that how it went? Because he didn't go straight to Matchroom either. He was with the Sowlands for a little while. Derek said he didn't want it to become a point where he had to knock Frank's door. Where's my money? Where's my money? Curtis Woodhouse, he used to be a professional footballer. He turned pro with Frank Warren around 2006. He eventually won the British title. He said that it took Frank Warren 3 rubber checks to pay me 14 grand. The checks kept bouncing. And he's took the video off his YouTube page where Frank had a purse from him. It could have been his 14 grand he was talking about. And Frank was paying him in bits and pieces, basically. And he said he just couldn't function the way Frank was paying him because they might want to go on a holiday, him and his family. And they're thinking, well, we haven't got the money and Frank hasn't paid us, and they couldn't do this and they couldn't schedule things because of the way Frank was paying them. So there's definitely something in it. He's probably tightened up his ship since them days a little, I would have assumed. It got pretty bad. Curtis took to Twitter just a few years back and was airing Frank out using obscenities, and he got banned off Twitter. So not a good experience for Curtis Woodhouse.
What would you do if you're a fighter or a manager and you don't get paid? You don't pay a fighter. You're called before the board. And if you don't pay them, they take your licence away. And I've seen it happen.
So where's this come from then?
Let's answer everyone. Right. Ricky Hatton. I've never done nothing wrong to Ricky Hatton. In fact, I made available publicly all of the money that I paid him whilst he was with me. So what happened? He had a big fallout with his father over money not being declared.
With Ray, yeah.
This is well known. Public, been in the newspaper, they had a fight. And he never spoke to his father. That was over money. Nassim Hamid, I walked away from him. That's what happened. It wasn't over money. There's an interview that he did on Sky TV saying, his words, not mine, I should never have left him. I would say 80% of this was over about 3 fighters who went to Hearn. And I had a contract and I sued him.
You know, we're going back when Frank wasn't a stranger to the courtroom, with either him taking his fighters to court or vice versa. You know, one of the fighters who went over to Matchroom he was talking about was obviously Tony Bellew. Tony Bellew will tell you that he was lucky to escape breathing after his tenure with Frank Warren. And it was Ricky Burns who tried to break his contract and go over to Matchroom. His court battle left him with £228 in his account. He had to file bankruptcy. And there was also Joe Calzaghe back in the day. You know, like Frank Warren was promoting and managing Joe Calzaghe. That's what Calzaghe alleges, which Joe said was a conflict of interest. And Joe wanted to break his contract, and Joe won that lawsuit and took Frank for a couple of mil. Frank and his business partners from Sports Network were saying they had a verbal agreement, management agreement with Joe Calzaghe. The judge looked at Frank in disbelief and said, "You got no paperwork at all and you're coming in the court to tell me that?" You know what I mean? So and there's more, but this the video can only go on for so long. There is more.
Okay, fellas, let's get it on. Okay, fellas, let's get it on.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble!
This is Amir Hardcore Mansour on Boxing Beats and Rhymes YouTube channel. Tune in, because this is the place to be, man, all the time.
Okay, fellas, let's get it on.
Boom, fast, wake up, I said it all right. Look around and turn your wet to a bright night.
This is Tony Thompson, chilling with Boxing Beats and Rhymes.